On a battlefield, a former high schooler recalls how she and her friends had suddenly teleported into a strange, chaotic world of magic and had become highly skilled magicians. Months ago in the real world, two knucklehead high schoolers, Taichi and Rin, linked up on their way to school. Rin, who has a tennis equipment bag strapped on like an optimistic loser, asks Taichi why he has not joined any school clubs. Lazy and scrawny little bum, Taichi dismisses the idea, and Rin complains about her useless friend wasting his athletic talent. A glowing leaf passes Taichi's dumb ear and whispers his name. Taichi frowns and watches the talking float through the air behind him. In a temple, two idiots swoon over the gigantic magic circle one of them had made. The guard among the two idiots praises his master for her good work. While the young boss activates the circle, a masked fool silences the guard and walks towards the young boss with a bloodied dagger. The young boss shakily asked her attacker how he figured out her hiding place. A generous drop of the guard's blood on the knife drops onto the magic circle. The attacker lifts his bloody dagger to end the young boss's life, but the previously thought-silenced guard stabs the attacker. After the attacker's bloody body falls onto the magic circle, the young boss screams in alarm. Nimrod Taichi barely saves Rin from a bicycle accident, like you barely pass math class, and Rin blushes. A magic circle suddenly appears and teleports the duo into an unknown land. Taichi wakes up in an open field and quickly runs to wake Rin. Rin wakes up after a few calls from Taichi and blushes. Taichi foolishly realizes the atmosphere and frees his grip on his friend. Taichi asks Rin if she is hurt, and Rin nervously assures Taichi she is not. The two lost fools look around them and wonder where they have been teleported to. Hours later, while walking across the field like two mindless idiots, nincompoop Taichi complains about the lack of service in the area. Rin dumbly suggests they find the nearest houses to call home, but Taichi dismisses the suggestion. Taichi suddenly points out that he doubts they are still in the real world, and Rin startles. Taichi explains that the magic circle underneath them was not a CG effect, before adding that he felt a weird power emanating from the circle. Rin strongly refuses to believe Taichi. Sorry sis, but it is what it is. A dark, ugly horse with red shiny eyes appears in front of the foolish duo, and Rin stammers at the sight of the strange creature, and the two duo turn around to run for dear lives. While the horse runs violently toward them, Taichi realizes there is no way they can outrun such a powerful beast, and shoves Rin to the ground along with him. With the horse's deadly red orb eyes fixed on the two fools, Rin asks, in fear, if the horse is really after them. Taichi decides to play savior, and instructs his scared friend to get into hiding while he distracts the ugly beast. Rin foolishly refuses, and Taichi declares that one should die rather than both before asking Rin to allow him to end it courageously. Taichi charges blindly at the horse while Rin screams after him. Stupid Rin, who is meant to be hiding, stands in fear and watches Taichi pick up a stone and toss it against the ugly horse. The horse unsurprisingly is unaffected by the stone tossed at it. Taichi spits random insults to get the repulsive horse to come after him, and when the horse charges violently toward Taichi with a mouthful of fire, a boomerang-shaped light appears from nowhere and slices through the ugly horse's neck. A thick man with a head shining brighter than the sun smirks at Taichi and commends his attempt to anger the horse. The man with the sun-kissed head stabs the ugly horse, but the horse reacts violently and spits fire blinding. A light arrow travels from a shrub into the horse's left thigh. The shooter walks out of the bushes, eyes closed and with a smile after the horse falls to the ground. The archer and the shining-headed man inform Taichi that the obsidian horse they just defeated is the most powerful creature in the area. A creepy little girl with a staff offers to grill the horse while the archer helps Rin. Taichi watches the creepy magician engulf the fallen horse in magical fire. Requelta, the archer, shares the cleanup job with his friends. Taichi looks at his strangely dressed saviors and confirms that he and Rin have been transported to a fantasy world through the magic circle. With his two beady but idiotic false portrayals of determination, Taichi inwardly declares that he and Rin must find a way to survive in the new world they have found themselves in. While sitting around a small campfire, Requelta asks the two idiot duo where they come from. Rin turns her face away in discomfort, and Barada cautions Requelta not to intrude on their new friend's privacy. Requelta apologizes for his shameful behavior, and Barada points out it is risky to travel without weapons in the region, with the highest number of monster attacks. Requelta adds that the area is a sweet spot for adventurers like themselves, and Taichi ponders on the word adventurer. Magia suddenly mentions that the wagons heading into town are being attacked and people have started missing. Barada continues that the monster situation of the region increases day in day out. Out of desperation, Taichi begs his saviors to help them to the next town, and the good-natured adventurers agree in a heartbeat, but with the condition that he settles things with Rin before the morning. Later that night, Taichi walks up to Rin, who is sitting like a lonely idiot lost in thoughts. Taichi asks his friends why she has been angry all day. Rin denies her anger, but Taichi apologizes and chastises her to speak up. Rin dumbly hugs her legs and asks Taichi never to sacrifice himself for their safety again. Taichi is caught off guard by his friend's confession. With his valueless eyes closed, Taichi explains that he acted based on the heat of the moment. Rin turns around with a scowl and calls her friend an idiot for showing off because he is a biological boy. She nervously adds that he should never leave her side before bursting into tears. Taichi solemnly promises Rin that he will never leave her alone no matter what happens. The two foolish duo bump fists under the moonlight to seal their promise. What a bunch of jobless fools. At Aspire, the next town, Barada and his friends show the two idiotic lost children around. Requelta asks the weak duo if they are sure of becoming adventurers, and Taichi assures his saviors that they will find their way around it and earn some money for their upkeep. The idiot duo bows in thanks to their savior, and Barada tosses them some money as a parting gift before letting them know their whereabouts, in case Taichi and his friend need help. In the guild, the dumb duo are surprised to learn about the different races of humans and beasts in the new world. When handed a contract written in a strange language, the duo expresses their disbelief at being able to read the lines without any prior teachings. Rin points out that they had also been able to converse with their saviors without any problem. The receptionist hurries the two little fools to sign the contract and prepare for their magic aptitude test. Rin touches the giant crystal ball presented to her, and the two spectators watch. Flustered by the results shown by Rin, the receptionist urges Taichi to repeat after Rin. The receptionist blushes in shock when Taichi's touch cracks the crystal. The receptionist nervously asks them to wait while she goes into the back room. After looking around nervously, the two ignorant former high schoolers watch the receptionist walk down the stairs with the guildmaster and a powerful-looking young lady. The guildmaster walks up to the duo and introduces himself as Gerard, the guildmaster. While the duo look at each other in confusion, Gerard mentions that they cannot register them as adventurers. The duo panics, but Gerard calls on Mayura before explaining that Mayura will take them to a place where they will receive the needed advice. The duo tries to get Gerard to explain further, but Gerard assures them they will understand when they reach their destination. Mayura takes the inquisitive idiots to an ill-dressed woman's house. The mindless woman introduces herself as Lamia before welcoming her guest. Over tea, Mayura informs Lamia that they have come to conduct a proper magic aptitude test for Taichi and Rin. Lamia hands the duo a wood-like device and chants some weird shit to activate the device. The two grown-ups in the room are startled to learn that the powerless-looking duo holds a massive amount of magic affinity. Ignorant Taichi asks the women if they can become adventurers, and Lamia assures them they can but will have to become her apprentices. In a dark area, two evil fools discuss the successful sabotage of the summoning. The superior amongst the two asks his agent if he did a clean job, but the masked agent informs his master that the spell activated despite his attempts against it, and they have begun their nationwide search for the lost ones. The superior man opens his palms and reveals the crushed leaf that passed by Taichi in the human world. Lamia explains the test results to the idiot duo while they watch her in astonishment. Miura explains that humans with a quarter of their magic affinities are strong enough to become royal mages and knights. Miura adds that even Lamia, considered the most powerful known mage, does not have half their strength. Lamia mentions that their outstanding magic affinities are why they must become her apprentices to learn how to unleash their full potential. Miura continues that if Taichi and Rin do not get to know how to use their powers, they could destroy themselves. Nitwit Taichi foolishly asks what would happen if they train and master the use of their magic. Lamia explains they would be well above S-rank adventurers and the top royal mages. Lamia adds that they would become powerful enough to wage war on an entire nation single-handedly and win. Lamia sneakily mentions that if Taichi becomes a king of his own, he can have all the money and women he wants before tilting her fresh cherries into Taichi's face. Rin jealously smacks Taichi's eye while the two adults enjoy the drama. Over a delicious-looking breakfast the following morning, Lamia calls on Miura to explain what magic spells are. Miura explains that magic spells are techniques one can use by providing spirits with one's magic power. Rin asks if mages cannot activate spells without the said spirits, and Lamia confirms her question. Lamia pulls out 4 elements to represent the 4 types of magic spirits for visual explanation. While good for nothing, Taichi munches on bread. The girls accuse him of zoning out. After Taichi apologizes, Lamia mentions that the mages don't usually get to choose what attribute to use because the spirits are the ones who pick the mages. Lamia adds that only a few people like Mayura and herself can use more than one magic spirit. Lamia informs stupid Rin that she can use all 4 attributes of the magic spirit, which is an almost impossible incident. Taichi shamelessly pesters Lamia to tell him his attributes, but Lamia admits she has no idea. Taichi begins to throw a fit, and Lamia facepalms him. She informs Taichi that he is a sorcerer, not a mage. Lamia adds that a sorcerer is a unique type of mage that uses sorcery instead of magic spells. Inquisitive Rin asks how magic spells are different from sorcery, and Mayura explains that magic spells are cast by borrowing the power of the spirits. She adds that sorcerers use the spirits themselves, not their powers. Lamia mentions that a sorcerer needs to forge pacts with the spirits he commands, and their power is usually born from powerful bonds above what mages can wield. After a wave of serious silence, jobless Taichi foolishly speaks out that he doesn't want anything to do with nations, politics, or any serious shits, and Lamia points out that his words are not what a potentially strongest man in the world should say. When Taichi asks what will become of him, Lamia admits that there is no way to figure out what his magic is as a unique magician, since some sorcerers don't form pacts with spirits but instead control ancient sorcery to manipulate light, darkness, and space-time. Lamia assures Nimrod Taichi that he will eventually find out his specialization, but until then, he has to train hard. In the woods, Lamia amplifies her right fist with magic and punches a tree to the ground. Lazy bum, Taichi struggles to catch up, and a little speckle of light passes by his ear to whisper words of encouragement. In the confusion, dumb and scrawny Taichi asks Lamia if she has said anything, but Lamia tells him she didn't. While Lamia trains Taichi, Miura teaches Rin how to use fire magic. Rin successfully casts a fire spell on the first trial, and Mayura commends her for being a fast learner. The two girls engage in some mushy and girly talk. Rin learns that Mayura is elven, and Mayura mentions that she wishes Rin to surpass her one day. After a full day of fruitful practices, Rin visits her dumb friend to ask how he is holding up. Idiot Taichi admits his day went horribly, and he hasn't manifested his powers. Rin informs her useless friend of her success before encouraging him not to give up. Taichi tries again. The speckle of light whispers words of encouragement. Taichi blocks out every other word of encouragement around him and listens to the strange voice. Taichi follows the instructions of the voice and unleashes his power. Rin shakes Taichi from his trance and commends him for his hard work. Taichi asks his friend if she heard a voice, but Rin informs him she didn't. Rin asks Taichi what voice he heard, and Taichi explains that the voice came from nowhere and helped him out. Out of fear, Rin asks if her dumb friend is seeing a ghost, and nitwit Taichi assures her that he is not crazy. The two idiot duo walk home to enjoy a feast. While gluttony Taichi munches on the food like a barbarian, Rin apologizes for her idiot friend's ill manners, and Lamia dismisses her apology. Lamia commends Rin for a productive day, and Mayura assures Rin that she does not need to act humble, because mastering a basic spell in a single day is incredible. Rin dumbly closes her eyes and thanks Mayura for being a good teacher. The back and forth sappy compliments continue for a while between Rin and Miura. Lamia butts in and asks Miura to carry on with her teachings, while she focuses on teaching Taichi how to use his left hand. Taichi sighs like a pathetic little puss, and the adults attack him for it. After a bit of banter between Taichi and the girls, Lamia and Miura retire to the porch. Miura asks Lamia what she thinks of the dumb duo and Rin's ability to do basic spells after seeing her practicing it just once. Lamia mentions that she believes the idiot duo are not normal humans. Miura asks Lamia what she plans to do about the duo, and Lamia points out that they must get the two ignorant duos thoroughly trained within 3 weeks to stand on their own as adventurers. Miura asks Lamia why she is in a rush to train the duo, and Lamia mentions that if word of the teens' power gets out, everyone in the nation will want a piece of them, and they need to teach them how to survive on their own. In the origin of the magic circle, the young boss prays to a statue to grant its blessings on the two summoned duo. Weeks later, Miura and Lamia watch their students take down lower-level monsters with all the attributes they've learned. Each tutor compliments their students' battle tactics. Lamia points out that Miura has taken an unusual liking to Rin. Miura blushes before telling her that Rin is a fast learner who absorbs whatever she is taught and suddenly adapts it to create her unique magic. Miura admits to learning from Rin's creativity. The pesky tutors gasp after seeing an obsidian horse, but the previously useless duo destroys the horse easily. The tutors treat their students to dinner one last time to celebrate them passing their graduation exam. The idiot duo are surprised to learn that their tutors will drop them off the following day to begin life as independent people. Before the night ends, Lamia mentions that she knows the two teenagers are aware that they are the lost ones. Rin asks Lamia what being a lost one means, and Lamia explains that although she has only read about them in a book, lost ones are people who come into their fantasy world from other worlds. Lamia continues that either something triggers the opening of a hole in space-time, or a sorcerer from their world summons them into their world. Lamia points out that from what she has gathered, Taichi and Rin were summoned into their world. Taichi and his friend share an astonished look before nervously asking Lamia if she knew of their identity all along. Mayura explains that their mannerism made it obvious. When the idiot duo asks who summoned them and why, Lamia tells tells them their question is meant for the sorcerer that summoned them. After learning that summoners are a rarity amongst the rare sorcerers, Taichi assumes it means it should be easier to find their guy and make him send them home. Lamia nervously confirms Taichi's words and calls everyone's attention back to the celebration. In the bedroom, Taichi thanks Rin for not running away when she had a chance to on their way to school. He thanks her again for standing with him and helping him stay alive. Rin blushes, and the two friends look forward to finally earning money and finding the summoner responsible for their teleportation. Late at night, Taichi flexes his power. The little voice rings in his heed and tells Taichi they will meet soon. Taichi sits up and demands the voice to reveal itself, but the voice assures him that they meet soon before giggling and leaving his room. In an open field, Taichi calls out to the laughing voice, but the voice keeps telling him to wait and assures him that they will meet soon. Taichi wakes from his dream drenched in sweat and looks at the town through his window. Before this, 2 weeks ago, Miura and Lamia dropped Taichi and Rin off to Aspire. The duo registered at the guild and linked up with their old-time saviors. In the present day, Taichi admits that he can easily get used to his new life. At a restaurant, while Rin reads a novel like The Self-Righteous Bookworm, Taichi points out that the best part about the fantasy world is that they don't need to take exams. Sigh. We all wish our world is cool like that. Rin mentions that they need to have basic knowledge of the strange world. After the two idiots go through the map of the lands, Imelda, a worker, serves the duo tea before announcing that she will be on her way to fetch their breakfast and hand over a mail to them. Rin and Taichi freak out after reading the message summoning them to the guild. In the guild master's office, Gerard, the guild master, informs them about the worrisome news of goods being stolen from shops and wagons which are being smuggled into the city through the slums. The guild receptionist informs Taichi and Rin that they have been summoned to go on a special mission to gather information on who is responsible for the incidents. Taichi points out that the job is meant for a higher rank, but the receptionist reminds Taichi that a party of adventurers can accept a quest one rank above them. When Taichi foolishly expresses his disbelief, Rin accuses him of being a slow nincompoop. Taichi reads the guild's special mission contract. Rin brilliantly recognizes 2 cross signs and asks if the crosses mean the mission has been failed by adventurers twice. Gerard confirms her question before adding that with one more failure, they will have to ask C-rank adventurers to take over the mission, and the guild will have to pay the extra margin to make up for their incorrect estimate. Taichi mindlessly accuses Gerard of being stingy, and Gerard mentions that he is sure they will execute the mission successfully, since Lamia never takes empty barrels as her apprentices. The idiot duo agrees to the job after Gerard promises them their rank will be upgraded from an E to a D if they succeed. Outside the guild, the foolish duo agrees to get to work by nightfall. While walking across town, Rin spots her favorite fruits and rushes to buy them. After realizing and complaining that the fruit has doubled its regular price within a few days, the seller informs them that there is fruit scarcity because of the sudden drop in the number of wagons delivering food, and he is selling them as cheaply as he can. The seller adds that he has heard scary rumors about goods suppliers being attacked by monsters on their way to the kingdom. Taichi and Rin share looks and sighs like powerless fools. After buying the fruits, the idiot duo discusses the rumors of the suppliers and their sabotaged wagons. Taichi wonders that if the stolen food is making its way into the slums, then it's connected to their special mission. Rin mentions that they need to find a way to succeed since some parties have already banged the mission twice. But Taichi assures her that he feels good enough to know that the mission has nothing on them. A covered fellow passes by the dumb duo while watching them. They were being followed, and they didn't suspect a thing. At night, the dumb duo visits a tavern to gather some info. The bartender mocks scrawny-looking Taichi, and the customers burst out laughing. Taichi overlooks the comments and mockery, and asks the bartender to serve them cups of water. The bartender commends Taichi for his guts, and points out that he is surprised the duo dared to show up at his tavern dressed like ridiculous fancy mages. Taichi and Rin admit that they are a pair of dumb idiots who can protect themselves. After a while of sitting, Rin urges Taichi to go on with their plans. Taichi musters up his thickest voice and asks the bartender about the rumors that the bartender is the go-to man if one wishes to get the goods that aren't circulating in the market. The bartender plays dumb and asks the 2 nincompoops what they mean. Rin foolishly explains that the market is in trouble because of the shortages and the price of goods are skyrocketing. Nimrod Taichi adds that they are thinking of profiting from the inflation by starting a business themselves and selling at outrageous prices. The bartender advises them not to dabble in such a business because it is not meant for amateurs like them. Rin ignores the man and reveals a sack of money like a quack bat before continuing that they had come because they heard the bartender sells anything for the right price. The men in the bar gap at the cash, and Rin quietly comments that if they were in a movie, the bartender would have taken the bait. The spooky customers brought out their weapons to acquire the dumb duo's money, but were defeated by the helpless-looking but powerful teenagers. A defeated man on the floor admits that a man offered them a job, and when they had gone to attack the wagon, they found out that the wagon was already robbed and destroyed. After a few stern comments, the men confess that they took the wagon to the entrance of the town. While the drunk men beg for mercy, the bartender admits that even if the bar sold a few stolen items, it isn't an everyday affair. The bartender warns the dumb duo playing detective not to go against the rules by investigating further and landing themselves in real trouble. The bartender rejects their money and kicks them out of his tavern. While the two ridiculous duo walk through the dark streets, Taichi calls Rin's attention to the lingering feeling of being followed. Rin informs her foolish good-for-nothing friend that she has been aware they were tailed from the bar. When the duo attempt to run, they get cornered by three ninja-like ladies. One of the ladies runs towards Rin to attack her, but Taichi blocks her attack with his sword. The lady draws back and attempts another attack against Taichi, and Taichi comments that his attacker is fast. After breaking free from the fight frenzy, obtuse Taichi mentions he feels uncomfortable fighting women. Witless Rin calls her crack-brained partner's head back to the game. When Taichi tries to provoke the last standing villain, one of the girls throws a screen bomb to aid their escape. After dissolving the screen bomb with wind magic, Rin says that their enemies have escaped. Brainless Taichi points out that they managed to capture one of them, and that the attackers were hired assassins who were genuinely trying to kill them. With concern dripping in her voice, Rin asks why the hirers plan to kill them, and not to scare them off. Thick-headed Taichi admits he doesn't understand. The laughable duo packs up their captured price and heads to the guild. The assassin wakes up strapped to a chair in a dungeon. Gerard speaks through the dungeon door. He speaks out that he is surprised to see her alive because regular assassins who bang their mission usually have two choices. They either wait for their comrades to silence them or take their own life. Gerard assures the assassin not to worry about her comrades coming for her because she was brought to the dungeon secretly. Gerard adds that her victim was the one who asked him to capture her, and it is up to her to decide how to use her spared life. At the restaurant, Mayura pays the rash duo a surprise visit to congratulate them on their rank upgrade. Over breakfast, Mayura tells the dumb fools that there are more monster attacks, the town's food supplies keep declining, and the assassins that attacked them are all connected. Rin foolishly explains that since they left the captured assassin and information with the guildmaster, she doubts it is in their place to worry about it anymore. Pea-brain Taichi points out that the prices of the goods keep getting inflated daily. He adds that in the past week, they could buy 3 of Rin's favorite fruits for 1 silver currency, but as of the present, 1 silver can buy just 1 fruit. Dim-witted Taichi wackily continues that it's crazy for the prices to triple in a few days. Mayura speaks out that the situation is worse than she had imagined, before adding that she might be able to resolve the matter of Rin's favorite fruit at the very least. When asked by Rin, Miura admits that she had originally come to speak to them about forming a party. The beautiful elven prodigy asks the dumb duo how they would feel about her joining their party. In a carriage, bird-brained Mayura admits that she never envisaged forming a party with anyone. She has a flashback to the restaurant when she had told the idiot duo that Rin's favorite fruits in the northern forest are ready for harvest, but there has been a rash of incidents where someone is stealing them. Dunderheaded Rin asks if the robbers are causing the extreme shortages, and Taichi uselessly adds that the robbers are the reasons behind the price of the fruit. Miura agrees and mentions that the culprits have powerful magicians guarding them, so the farmers cannot fight back. Miura introduces the new mission of paroling the fruit field and capturing the culprits to her party members. Miura continues that they are to defeat the powerful magician, and their pay is 500 silvers. At the farm, 2 farmers thank the adventurers for coming to their aid. One of the farmers introduces himself as McGill, and the other says he is Leith. After exchanging pleasantries, McGill offers to show his guests around the fields. A white-haired man walks up to Taichi with his eyes closed. He introduces himself as Kasim, before informing Taichi that he is the one who filed the quest with the guild. Taichi shakes the white-haired stranger and feels a weird wave of energy over him. Rin's staff begins glowing in the field, and Rin warns the little group that the enemies are coming. Rin stops the angry farmers in their tracks, and explains that the presence she feels is not human. Mayura orders the farmers to get behind her, and run if they feel unsafe. An ugly ogre and 3 disgusting-looking orcs emerge from the woods. Taichi ignores the farmers' fearful talks, and asks Mayura to take care of the orcs, and Rin to cover the farmers, while he deals with the ogre. The farmers and Rin watch Mayura take down the orcs in swift slashes. The farmers worry if pig-brained Taichi can take down the giant-sized orge, and Rin assures them that her dumb friend is more powerful than he looks. After dodging a few blows from the orge, Taichi upgrades his strength to level 35 and knocks down the ogre in 1 punch. At night, the useless party of 3 knuckleheads discuss the odds of non-northern monsters, like the ogres and orcs, showing up in the northern region. Rin, who always asks obvious questions, foolishly asks if there is a chance that the monster attack earlier was set up by someone, Miura, who the two idiots have begun rubbing their idiocy on, mentions that it is too early to jump to conclusions, and they would have to wait to see how the enemies react before they determine anything. The three fools agree to set a trap for the attackers and show them what happens when they underestimate them. In the woods, a light-skinned beauty slaughters a bunch of monsters, extracts their powers, and promises to finish up the adventurers the following day. After a fit of evil laughter, the strange woman puts on her hood and activates her invisibility cloak. In the guild's dungeon, the assassin wonders why Taichi spared her life when he could have easily ended her. With a stern look, Gerard walks into the dungeon room and asks the assassin if she has decided what she wants to do. The assassin smirks and confirms she has. In the fruit field, Miura stops Taichi and calls his attention to the footsteps. The farmers are vexed after seeing footsteps lead to a burnt-out campfire. McGill points out that the fire remains still warm and Rin's staff begins glowing. Rin reports that she feels the presence of 3 humans nearby. The farmers catch 3 dull-witted thieves red-handedly plucking fruits from the trees and run after them. The thieves turn around and show off their weapons. The adventurers take over the situation. Taichi informs the obtuse thieves that they have been hired to bring them in, and they should not try to resist them if they want mercy. The now tied-up thieves complain about being caught the day their female mage, who used to pop in and out from nowhere, is absent. A thief points out that if the mage were with them, the adventurers would have been toast by now. The farmers drag the tied thieves out of the field in annoyance, and Kasim walks over to the adventurers to thank them for their help. Kasim shakes Taichi, and Taichi comments that Kasim's hands are unusually soft and clean compared to the other farmers who had rough and calloused hands from daily farm work. Kasim lies to the adventurers that he is an overseer, but Miura butts in and points out that Kasim knew about the ogres and orc, which is strange because the monsters were not northern creatures. Rin adds that it is unnatural for a farmer who has never been an adventurer to recognize non-northern monsters immediately. Taichi asks the strange man who he is, and Kasim gives out a surprisingly evil laugh before admitting he is the one who sent the orcs and ogres to the farm. Kasim evilly adds that he is the one who convinced the men to steal the fruits. The adventurers ask Kasim the purpose of his acts, and Kasim informs them that he did what he did to lure the 3 unsuspecting idiots where he wanted them to be. With an exaggerated evil expression, Kasim says that he has seen each of their impressive capabilities before commending Taichi for his jaw-dropping skills. Moronic Taichi foolishly thanks the villain, and Kasim points out that the adventurers are naive fools. Miura notices a presence before her. The presence suddenly transforms into a woman taking off her invisibility coat while accusing her partner of being talkative. When the adventurers assume their battle stands, the evil woman introduces herself as Grammy and assures them that she will give them plenty of pleasure. Kasim asks his partner to let him face Taichi while she does the others. A blast is seen in the forest. Grammy skips away from an attack and comments about enjoying her fight. Miura swoops in from nowhere with her sword, and Grammy barely blocks her. Miura asks the crazy bitch why she didn't attack them when she was hiding her presence. Grammy calls Miura stupid before announcing that she is not interested in petty assassination. Grammy adds that what she wants is the coming together of 2 lives. Grammy lands a heavy attack against Miura. Miura blocks the attack and points out that her opponent is strong and has an abnormal obsession with battle. Rin signals to Rin, and Rin attacks Grammy with a massive fire arrow. Grammy calls Rin's attack weak and happily blocks it with her wind magic. Rin engulfs Grammy in a powerful magic whirlwind to buy time for Miura. Grammy cuts through the wind and is shocked to see Rin has readied water and rock magic attacks against her. Grammy swoons at the sight before her. In another part of the field, Taichi asks Kasim if Grammy is the thieves' bodyguard. Kasim confirms she is and informs Taichi that he will be facing him. Taichi asks his opponent how he intends to fight if he is unarmed, but Kasim surprises him when he summons a monster to fight him. Egotistic Taichi charges himself and jumps into the air to destroy the monster in one go. Kasim happily explains that his monster is elemental and has no physical body and physical attacks won't work against it. Kasim asks Taichi how he intends to defeat a creature he cannot inflict physical pain on the creature. Back to the girls. Rin struggles to hold Grammy off until Miura swoops in with a body-glowing attack. Gammy blocks the attack with the same energy and screams about how much fun their fight is. Rin watches the 2 women and worriedly comments that Miura will exhaust herself soon and must do something before then. Rin launches rocks and water toward Grammy, but has no choice but to dissolve them when Grammy switches positions with Miura. Grammy lands a stomach-flattening punch on Miura's stomach. Grammy jumps into the air and slashes through Rin's magic barricade. On the other hand, bird-brained Taichi foolishly keeps attacking the monster with his sword, even after his opponents tell him that no form of physical attack works on the creature. Kasim commends Taichi for his unimaginable physics strength before mocking him for stalling before the real fighters, the girls, come to finish the job. Doltish Taichi asks Kasim why he went all the way just to secure a fight against them. Kasim ignores him and feeds his creature the combined energy of the monsters Grammy collected the night before. After eating the energy, the beast growls into the sky and turns red. Kasim names his mutated defeated creature, the red elemental, before ordering it to fight Taichi. The red element swiftly glides through the air and knocks Taichi down. Taichi coughs up blood, and Kasim announces he has no plans to kill him just yet. Taichi asks what sort of sick game Kasim is playing, and Kasim tells him he wishes to take the girls fighting his partners as hostages. Kasim admits he plans to use them to acquire Taichi's powers. While Mayura and Rin lay tired on the floor, Grammy complains that their fight is over just when she finally gets into the mood. The two girls get on their feet and announce that they will revert to their standard battle tactics. Interested in the conversation, Grammy asks the girls what tactics they have been using a while back. Miura smiles and tells their opponent they ran a test to expand their repertoire. Gullible and battle-crazed Grammy asks the girls to bring it on, and Mayura attacks her with an old move. Grammy mocks the girls for trying the same trick twice, but gets surprised when Rin charges toward her with a spell sword. Grammy barely escapes Rin's attack and lands just in time to receive an astounding kick from Mayura. Rin jumps into the air and stabs Grammy with a magic light sword. Grammy laughs maniacally and asks the girls to keep it coming. Rin engulfs Grammy in a wind, and explosives combined attack, and Grammy jubilates after being blown up. Mayura knocks Grammy out by slashing her with a flaming hot sword. Grammy regains consciousness with Mayura's sword by her neck. She accepts defeat for the day and promises to get back at them harder next time. Kasim, out of the blue, orders the girls to stay put if they care about Taichi's safety. The girls shiver while watching the red elemental punish the defeated Taichi. Taichi goes into a trance and borrows the power of the light speckle out of desperation. The light speckle introduces herself as Wind Spirit, Ariel, before lending her power to Taichi. Slow-witted Taichi wakes up glowing with wind hovering around him. After receiving a kick from the red elemental, Taichi gets on his feet and defeats the creature in one magic wind blast. In fear, Kasim and Grammy flee the scene into the bush. Taichi screams and suddenly breaks down. The wind spirit tells him the time is up, and Taichi shouts into the air. While the two villains walk through the woods severely injured, Grammy asks Kasim if he achieved his goal. Kasim confirms he has, before adding that Taichi is more powerful than anticipated. Empty-headed Taichi wakes up tired in a room and finds a single leaf resting on his covered thighs. Lamia walks into the room, and Taichi asks her how he is in her home. Lamia smiles at the dumb, weak little man sitting up in bed. In the next scene, Lamia softly complains about Taichi eating a meal meant for 5 people. Taichi adds that he has realized his appetite has increased massively since he woke up. Lamia explains that his increased appetite is related to why he is in her home. After taking a seat, half-witted Lamia informs Taichi that he consumed all his magic power in his body and fell into a coma for an entire week. Lamia continues that one is supposed to recover expended magic power overnight, but when it is completely spent, it takes a significant amount of time to regenerate from scratch. Lamia adds that Rin and Mayura assumed he passed out from exhaustion and injury at first, so they had a doctor check him. But after 3 days of no action, the girls carried his unconscious body to her home. Lamia informs Taichi that Rin and Miura have gone to take care of some things in town before asking Taichi to thank them when they get back. Moronic Taichi thanks Lamia, and Lamia wipes off her playful face and asks Taichi what he did in the northern forest. Taichi explains what Kasim did to the red elemental, and Lamia explains that he made a crimson pact, a forbidden magic that uses the blood of men, and beats that draws out several dozen times their host's normal magic power when injected. Taichi admits that he was unable to make a dent in the monster until the wind spirit Ariel reached out to him. Lamia flares up and asks Taichi if he is sure the spirit called itself Ariel. In confusion, Taichi asks Lamia to explain further. Lamia reminds Taichi of when she told him sorcerers use sorcery, and they didn't know what type of sorcerer he was. She adds that it has become clear what sort of sorcerer he is. Lamia builds up suspense and informs Taichi what type of sorcerer he is. Kasim reports to his master that the young man he met in the fruit fields had destroyed the red elemental with one wind blast. The veiled boss threatens to relieve Kasim of his indignation before asking if Grammy's reins are loose. Kasim immediately tries to defend Grammy, but the veiled boss insists that Grammy's efforts are not enough. He holds Grammy's hand and modifies her powers. Grammy falls to the ground, and the veiled boss declares that he needs Grammy to continue serving as Kasim's pawn. Grammy looks at her spider-head hand in disgust. The veiled boss reminds Kasim that they are about to begin their first grand step toward realizing their goal. 2 spooky veiled twins walk in and yap about them, looking forward to the carnival. The veiled boss backs them up and declares it is time for the carnival to begin. In a restaurant, Taichi recalls Lamia telling him he is a summoner. Lamia explains to him that the difference between a summoner and other magic users is that summoners aren't catalysts for the spirit takes over them and fights the summoners' battles themselves. Almeida distracts Taichi from his thoughts to ask him if he is okay. Daft Taichi assures the waitress that he is fine before asking her if she knows when the girls will be back. The waitress apologizes that she doesn't know, and Taichi walks out of the restaurant to search for his idiot friends. In town, Taichi walks past a green-haired girl trying to chase off 2 men. Taichi intervenes, and the girl suddenly acts like Taichi is her friend to get rid of the men, and the men accuse him of butting into their business from nowhere. One of the men rushes forward to attack Taichi, and Taichi lands a neck-straightening kick in him with a smile. The man's partner pulls his injured partner off of the scene. The green-haired woman thanks Taichi for saving her. Taichi points out that when he intervened, she slipped free from the man's grip, and she was not frightened when he kicked the man. The green-haired girl informs Taichi that they had met before when he knocked her out with a single blow to the stomach. Taichi recalls the assassin he punched in the stomach near the tavern, and the lady introduces herself as Anastasia, the former assassin that Taichi and his friend captured on the back streets at night. The former assassin explains that she has become an adventurer and gotten to the root of the matter of the attacks on the suppliers. The two break into the Veiled Master's home, and Taichi reads the content of a paper sticking out of a file of other papers. At night in town, Miura teases Rin for thinking about Taichi before assuring her Lamia will take care of him, and that they need to focus on their mission. A customer screaming over the outrageous price increase catches the girl's attention. Girls wonder if the increase in the price of goods is connected to the increase in monsters. The girls realize they are being followed and try to lead the spies into a secluded place. The attackers immediately pounce on the girls in the open. Miura orders the gawking citizens to run for their lives when she sees the assassin's face. The assassin launches the first sword attack and Miura blocks it. Rin sends water magic attacks toward the assassin, but the assassin dodges them and blocks Miura's sword attack. Rin attempts to finish off the assassin with wind magic, but her magic gets dissolved and turned against her from nowhere. Three assassins smirk down at the girls from a high roof. Grammy reveals herself behind them and captures Miura. Rin tries to go after Grammy, but the four assassins hold her off. In a dungeon, Anastasia and Taichi walk along the passage with a paper. Taichi says that if the paper is legit, it means a horde of goblins enhanced by Crimson Pact is hiding under Aspire. The two approach a door with rotten bones in front of it, and Taichi offers to check it out. Anastasia holds him and volunteers to go instead in case it is a trap. After Anastasia unlocks the door, Taichi admits when he captured her, he wanted her to live a normal life, but seeing the type of jobs the guild is making her do makes him feel bad. Taichi apologizes for his outburst and calls her Anastasia. Anastasia asks Taichi, and us as well, to call her Anna. In the street, Rin finally gets rid of the assassins and meets up with Grammy. Grammy informs her that she is less interested in fighting her before telling her where she has kept Miura. Rin asks Grammy why she is revealing Miura's location to her, and Grammy tells her that capturing people sneakily is not her style of fighting, and she doesn't want the girls to die before their second fight. Grammy exposes that her employer plans to use the Crimson Pact in Miura. Grammy urges Rin to hurry and save her friend. Rin declares she owes her nothing before jumping into the night sky. Granny looks at her tattooed hand and chuckles. Rin breaks into the room Miura is tied up in. A magician asks Run if she is friends with Miura, and Rin demands to know what they want with her friend. The magician reveals that they plan to use Miura as a sacrifice for a special ritual they are about to conduct before showing her the Crimson Pact. Rin powers up and asks, again, what the magicians want to do with her friend. She slams the magician against the wall and freezes the rest of the magicians to the ground. Rin uses earth magic to break the magic seal beneath Miura, and uses her staff to cut Miura's chain into two. Rin catches Miura, and Miura apologizes for losing her guard. Kasim and the Veiled Boss walk into the scene. The Veiled Boss commends Miura for disabling his men without killing any of them. Run recognizes Kasim, and the now unveiled boss mentions he is amazed by Rin's potential. Rin asks the man if he is responsible for capturing her friends. The man admits he is, and continues that he has not come to fight them, but rather to inform them that a large army of monsters will be attacking the town to destroy everything. At the gates of the town, a battalion of Crimson Pact monsters march forward slowly. Rin worriedly mentions Taichi, but Kasim informs Rin that they've sent Taichi on a goose chase, and the boss asks Rin if she and her elf friend are strong enough to protect the city alone. Rin watches the men walk out of the room. In town, Kasim speaks out that assaulting the city from both inside and out is a cruel thing to do. The boss chuckles and asks Kasim how many monsters he has prepared. Kasim responds that he prepared 500 underground and 200 above ground. The boss points out that 500 Crimson Pacts are fit for a man as powerful as Taichi. Kasim asks his master if he is sure of his plans, and the boss assures him that his plan has a 90% chance of success according to his calculations. The boss looks into the sky and mentions that the monster will arrive at the best time the following morning. In the dungeon, Taichi blocks a Crimson Pact-infected monster from crushing Anna. Anna blushes when her savior assures her He will never let her die. Taichi asks Ana to stay put while he obliterates the monster. After defeating the monster, Taichi wonders why the creature didn't have a core. Ana calls Taichi's attention to the opened door behind him. A voice calls out Taichi's name behind the door, before the door opens widely to reveal a crimson-red room. The voice turns out to be from the two creepy twins from the boss's office. The creepy twins introduce their guests to their room with a wide smile. At the guild, Mayura and Rin inform Gerard about the incoming Crimson Pact invasion. Gerard orders Marie, the receptionist, to summon all the adventurers in Aspire and to make contact with the Watch. Miura points out that the mastermind is most likely responsible for the hike in price to distract and weaken them against the attack. Gerard admits that he wishes Taichi was around. Rin informs the guildmaster that the villain told them to try and protect the city. Miura adds that in Taichi's absence, the adventurers should be able to protect Aspire. After the three agree to protect their town at all costs, Lamia walks in and commends her apprentice's courage before volunteering to stand in place of Taichi. In the dungeon, Taichi wonders what two children are doing in the strange room, and the children tell him they are not children. One of them introduces herself as Milo, and the other as Mello. Taichi asks Milo and Mello if they are responsible for the situation in the room. The two little girls happily admit that they made the golems and many other things. Ana points out that the girls are earth magicians, and Taichi asks the girls what they plan to do. The girls respond that they plan to awaken the goblins and release them into the city in unison. In shock, Taichi asks the girls if they know what will happen if the golems go into the city. The creepy twins happily inform Taichi that the golems have orders to rape women until they break, kill, and eat everyone they come across. Taichi asks the crazy twins if they too will not be in danger, but the girls show him a crystal they use to order the goblins they made. The twins raise the crystal and awaken the goblins. The Crimson Pact goblins break free from their eggs, and Taichi asks Ana to get back to the door while he purifies the room. Taichi destroys a bunch of the Crimson Pact goblins with a single wave of magic. The girls commend Taichi's impressive power and awaken other batches of goblins. Taichi is struggling to keep his powers low enough not to destroy the room as he destroys more goblins. While Taichi complains about how many goblins there are, the clumsy girls drop the crystal. The crystal breaks and the goblins begin attacking them. Boneheaded Taichi kills the goblins attacking the helpless girls and asks them if they now recognize the harm they have done. The twins apologize and the goblins swarm the room. Taichi asks the girls how many goblins they created, and the girls confess that there are multiple rooms full of goblins around the city. Ana, supposed to be a skilled assassin, struggles to fight the goblins. Ana assures Taichi that she can cater for herself, and Taichi asks the girls to join him in purifying the room. Lamia, the girls, and Gerard discuss their battle strategy in the guild. After agreeing on a particular plan, Rin begs them to let her try a tactic she thinks will work. Rin, Lamia, and Miura stand at the city gates awaiting the monsters. Lamia asks Miura to believe in Rin's plan of combining fire, water, and earth elements to create an explosion. The monsters match violently toward the city gate, and the citizens of Aspire brace themselves. As planned, Rin sends an attack to the mist of the Crimson Pact monsters. The attack creates a deep hole where almost all the monster falls into. With immediate effect, Rin fills the hole with water and covers it with a combination of fire and earth. The combustion wipes out a massive monster population, and Rin falls back into weakness. Mayura supports her students, and Rin softly assures her she can still fight. The guildmaster, Gerard, orders the men to begin their attack against the surviving Crimson Pact beasts. Kasim and his boss watch the adventurers fight the monsters. The boss mentions it will be shameful for a girl as promising as Rin to die in battle. Kasim announces the time has reached, and the boss shows a crazy expression before declaring the beginning of the real fun. While the girls discuss after taking down a great number of the monster population, an adventurer informs Gerard of the presence of more powerful Crimson Pact armies just in time. Taichi walks into the scene with Ana and the twins. A wave of more powerful giant monsters approaches Lamia and the girls. Lamia takes down a few of them before asking Miura and Rin if they can hold the monsters off until the count of 30. Rin gasps and asks Lamia if she is about to create her special spell, and Lamia confirms that it is time to change the tide of the battle with a single blow. While Lamia calls upon the spirit of the wind, Rin and Mayura modulate the monsters mercilessly. Lamia unleashes the breath of the Night Queen upon the monsters. Gerard asks Taichi who the twins are. Taichi leaves out the part of them responsible for creating the monsters, and tells Gerard the rest of the story. Grounds shake under the adventurer's foot, and Gerard immediately understands that Lamia has unleashed her powers. Gerard mentions Lamia's name, and Taichi calls the twins to follow him to the battlefield. Ana begs Taichi to let her follow him, but Taichi asks her to stay with the citizens and protect them. The three powerful remaining monsters that overcame Lamia's attack taunt the girls. While the girls try to defeat the three standing monsters, Rin slums after launching a powerful attack against her opponent. The creature lifts its nasty hand to deliver a deadly blow against Rin, and the two standing girls gawk like like fools. Rin has a flashback to all the good deeds Taichi has done for her, and regrets that she will never have a chance to tell him her heart, and thank him for always coming through for her. Taichi swoops into the scene and annihilates the monster. Dimwit Taichi overtakes the scene like a bad blocks the monster's attack, and apologizes to Run for coming late. Miura rushes to hug Rin, and Lamia walks up to Taichi. Taichi foolishly apologizes and explains that he is late because he had to exterminate some goblins underground. Blockhead Taichi resumes his battle and punches the golem's fist. Taichi lifts the golem from the ground by its leg and slams it onto the ground like a piece of paper. Taichi turns to Lamia and asks how many more she and the girls can take down. Lamia asks Taichi who the children are, and the twins protest that they are not children. Taichi explains that the twins are earth magicians and are more talented than they look. The smashed monster wakes up, and Taichi asks the girl to cover him while he takes care of the monster. Rin and Taichi fist bump each other before assuming their battle positions. The boss watches the scene play out and expresses his disbelief at Taichi wiping out all the underground goblins in one night. Kasim concludes that Taichi is no ordinary human. The boss points out that that is why he conducted the Crimson Pact test, and the ploy that will mark the festival's finale is already prepared. Cassium adds that they are both pawns in their Grandmaster's scheme, and the boss agrees they all are. In a refugee building, an adventurer explains the situation outside to Gerard. Gerard curiously asks how Taichi is holding, and the adventurer informs him that although Taichi is fighting the ogres with greater force, he is stuck in a 3 versus 1 battle. Anna feels bad for the first man to treat her as human. 2 citizens call Anna's attention to thank her for saving them. Anna tells herself that although her hands are stained with blood due to her past life, she knows she can start afresh. A veiled person passes by Anna and whispers into her ear. Anna becomes numb and walks toward the battle like a zombie. The girls and other adventurers work hand in hand to defeat as many Crimson Pack monsters as they can find. Taichi punches an ogre, dodges an attack from another, and ambushes it from the back. Taichi annihilates one of the ogres, and a giant nasty-looking claws emerge from the ground and crushes the ogres. Lamia and Miura instantly recognize the shaking ground and the giant emerging. In confusion, Rin asks what the fuss is about, and the twins speak about beings who sleep beneath the earth. A 2-headed dragon emerges from the ground and spits fire into the sky. The watching boss declares that the necessary pieces are on board, and the time has come to see how powerful the young man from another world is. Rin and the girls run up to Taichi, and Taichi asks Lamia for an explanation. Lamia points out that dragons do not usually bat an eyelash in battles between monsters and humans. Taichi wonders how such a beast is standing threateningly before them. The girls ask Taichi not to risk fighting the dragon, but Taichi lets them know that their plea is unavoidable. Taichi instructs Lamia to gather everyone to safety and prepare for evacuation. Rin walks up to Taichi and reminds him of their promise never to leave each other's side. Taichi convinces Rin to sit back while he attacks the dragon. Taichi runs towards the dragons and calls on Ariel. After receiving no response, Taichi concludes that he is on his own and launches his chest attack against the 2-headed dragon, but the dragon blocks him. The dragon heads begin spitting fire missiles towards Taichi. Taichi dodges all the fire attacks and gets slapped into the future by the dragon's tail. Birdbrain Taichi wonders why the dragon held back on its supposed lethal tail attack and what the dragon is doing intervening in a human-monster battle. Anna walks mindlessly towards Taichi and tries to convince him to allow her to heal his wounds. Taichi snaps Anna from her trance, and Anna asks why she is on the battlefield. While Taichi tries to convince Anna to get back to safety, one of the dragon heads spits out a massive ice attack. Anna sacrifices her life to save Taichi. Taichi places his savior's head in his lap and tries to keep her alive. Anna coughs up blood and thanks Taichi for not treating her like a tool like others do. Before Anna confesses her feelings for him, she glimpses at Rin and admits her feelings are one-sided. Anna switches her words and asks Taichi to be her friend if she survives. Anna passes out and Taichi screams into the sky. Taichi blames himself for failing to protect Anna and angrily calls upon Ariel. Ariel responds, and Taichi suddenly finds himself in an open field in the presence of the wind spirit. Ariel apologizes and explains that there was nothing she could do. She continues that the spirits are not allowed to help their master unless a pact has been formed, and the one time she intervened in the past was only allowed because her host was in danger. Ariel apologizes for her actions, and Taichi shifts the blame to himself. After blaming Anna's situation on himself, Taichi mentions that he does not need the power to take over the world as he thought. All he needs is the power to protect everyone. With that, Taichi orders Ariel to give him her powers. Ariel surrenders herself to her master and asks him to refer to her as Eri. Rin snaps Taichi out of his trance and asks her friend who the green-haired girl is. Taichi asks Rin to take care of the unconscious girl before adding that the girl is a precious friend. Taichi engulfs himself in Ariel's power and informs Rin that he has become a summoner While walking towards the talking dragons, Taichi instructs Ariel to knock the dragons down in one blow. Before unleashing his attack, Taichi asks the dragon why it has intervened in their battle. Taichi again asks the dragon what would make it withdraw from the battle. The two dragon heads tell Taichi to come at them with full power to get his answer. The dragon flows into the sky and unleashes a mixture of fire and ice magic against Taichi. Taichi blocks the dragon's combo attack with a whirlwind. After struggling to keep up, Taichi's whirlwind overtakes the combo attack and the effect sends the dragons flying. The dragon lands on the ground unconscious and with a loud bang. The dragon regains consciousness and confesses that it intervened in the battle because of a certain individual and the goal was to fight him, Taichi. Taichi asks the dragon for an explanation, but the dragon warns Taichi that the individual will continue guiding him onward, and it is necessary for both the country and the world of fantasy. The dragon adds that it lent the individual its power because he agrees with their beliefs. The dragon instructs Taichi to get stronger. In a strange room, a woman behind a curtain asks Kasim's boss if the test was successful. The boss confirms it before adding that he believes Taichi has forged a pact with a wind spirit. The woman behind the curtains laughs aloud and mentions that she must quickly prepare Taichi's next guidance. The boss assures his grandmaster that the preparations are steadily coming together before turning to the veiled man beside him. The grandmaster points out that after a town comes a country. Months after the Crimson Pact invasion, the town of Aspire recovers slowly into its shadow. Anna and many other courageous adventurers died while protecting their town, and the towners have come to accept the fact. At Lamia's home, Taichi summons a pint-sized Ariel in his palm. The girls commend Taichi on his improvement before agreeing with one another to find a way to surpass Taichi. Miura feels a presence and a carriage ride past them. The group recognizes the carriage's seal, and the Miura announces that a royal messenger is coming their way. The messenger introduces herself as Alcina Norman, before adding that she has come on behalf of the king to ask for help. In the royal carriage, Rin admits she is surprised about their sudden summons to the castle. One of the girls wakes Taichi up from his slumber before they all pounce on the messenger for answers to their questions. Alcina explains that the Elistane Magic Kingdom has been governed by a balance between factions supporting the current king or his younger brother for over 30 years. Alcima adds that while the king attained his throne through diplomacy and proactively reaching out to other nations, his younger brother, Duke Dortisheim, has continued to oppose the king at every turn. Dead-brained Taichi asks if the king's aim is for internationalization versus his conservative younger brother. Alcena adds that the king planned to dispatch magicians as part of his foreign policy, but his younger brother believes that eradicating magic is the best step. Alcena continues that the rebellion has begun, and war could break out at any moment, thus the reason for their summoning. Nitwit Taichi foolishly asks the messenger if they have been summoned to join the battle, but no one responds except Rin echoing Taichi's question, and the rest of the girls' sad expression. In the capital city, Taichi complains about its ghostly state, and the citizens shut their windows at the sight of strangers. Alcena asks Lamia why she has been lost in thought since the carriage. Lamia apologizes and abruptly asks if the king has said anything about Rin and Taichi. Alcena tells her no before adding that the king was insistent that he bring them to the capital, no matter what. Alcena calls the group to get to the carriage, but Taichi and Rin share knowing looks. Taichi shifts Alcena and catches an arrow directed at her in midair. In an office, the Duke's worker reports his findings on the two lost beings. In the castle, while some officials eye the group with distaste, Alcena introduces them to Bella Lafuma, the head royal magician, General Samela, the supreme commander of the royal army, and the familiar Charlotte Elistan, the princess of the kingdom. The king arrives fashionably late with his staff, and Rin pushes Taichi's stupid head into a bow. The king asks his guests to lift their heads and introduces himself as Gilmar. The king talks about the Crimson Pact invasion and commends them for their courage. Lamia rudely butts in and asks the king to get to the point. The chiefs chastise Lamia over her rude behavior towards the king, and the king orders all the officials to leave the room. The king and Lamia talk informally like old pals, and Lamia agrees to help the king with his brother on a condition. Lamia asks the king one more crucial detail. She asks him if he is behind the summoning of Rin and Taichi. The king sighs and admits he is. The king apologizes to the duo. Taichi walks forward and accuses the king of disrupting his and his friend's life because of his selfish needs. Rin tries to hold Taichi back, and Miura immediately apologizes on behalf of Taichi. After listening to his subject, the king accepts full responsibility for his actions. Like that changes anything. In the royal guest chamber, Alcena interrupts Taichi and Rin's conversation about the king, and introduces the princess into the room. The princess apologizes before confessing that she is the one who summoned them from their worlds. Alcena tells the princess she was only following her father's orders, but the princess insists that it was as much her desire as it was the king's. The princess admits that Taichi was the only one who fit the qualities of the lost one, before adding that she was attacked and the magic went out of control. The duo overlooks the princess's explanation and asks for a way back home. The selfish princess looks at the duo with pure guilt, before informing them that summoning magic can only be performed once in a lifetime. The princess bursts into tears tears and apologizes for dragging the innocent children into another world without a means of them returning. The princess promises to send them back to the world after they help end the war. Of course after, selfish pieces of shites. After the duo assures the princess that they are okay with the arrangement, Lamia storms into the room and calls Taichi out. Taichi finds himself in a battle ring with Sumela, the commander of the royal army. While Taichi struggles to keep up with Sumela's attacks, Lamia explains that the castle is testing Taichi's strength. Taichi realizes fighting Sumela isn't an easy task. He almost calls upon Ariel, but concludes that Ariel's power will be too much. Sumela strikes Taichi's sword, and the two swords break on contact. The king and his subjects watch in amusement as Taichi knocks down their powerful general. Sumela admits defeat and gets back on her feet. She apologizes for the test and pushes Taichi to the ground. Sumela desperately asks Taichi to marry her. At night, Taichi looks into the sky and summons a pint-sized Ariel to share the night view with him. Ariel asks her master what is bothering him, and Taichi admits his power is too much and he is scared of hurting people. Ariel pats Taichi's head in comfort after he declares he would rather filthy his hand than allow Rin to spill human blood. Taichi walks into Rin in the bathroom and apologizes frantically. In a temple, Kasim's boss sneaks up on the praying princess. The princess recognizes the man as Cardinal Lodra. What a shocker. I mean, we all thought he was some bad villain until now. The cardinal urges the princess to rest and eyes her evilly while she walks away. Still a bad villain. Taichi links up with Rin and calls her to join him in the royal meeting per Lemia's request. While the king holds a strategy meeting, the duke and his followers lament over the introduction of Taichi. A disagreement breaks out between the duke's men, and the duke is made to choose sides. The duke decides to go along with one of the disagreeing men, Marquis Nilgen's plan of overwhelming the palace in one go. Duke ignores the pissed glares of Marquis's opponent and announces that their call for concern is Taichi and Rin. In the castle, Sumela informs the king that the rebellion army has become active. The king frowns and asks his general for an estimation of their enemy's army, and Sumela informs her king that the rebels have prepared roughly 1,000 soldiers, in contrast to the king's 3,000 ready-for-battle knights and 6,000 standby soldiers. The king asks the head of magicians for a round figure of ready loyal magicians, and the head magician informs the king that they have 300 magicians prepared for battle and 500 in reserve. The stupid and hypocritical princess asks the king what he plans to do with Rin and Taichi. Sumela tells her the teenagers will match along with the high-ranked soldiers, and the king assures his daughter that they will be victorious. In the planning room, Lamia brilliantly points out that 1,000 soldiers alone seem sketchy and that the enemies might be planning to attack multiple spots. Sumela informs Lamia that the royal scouts searched around but could not find any additional enemy squads surrounding the royal capital. Lamia suggests they deploy more royal magicians in case they fall into the enemy's traps. After agreeing to Lamia's suggestion, Sumela announces that the forward troops will depart the next morning and engage the enemies in the south. While Sumela spits more battle tactics, Rin and Taichi discreetly admit their confusion. Miura assures them that they will do alright if they follow the directions given to them by Lamia and Sumela. The duo dread the knowledge that they would have to kill, and Lamia tells them that it is naive to believe one can win wars without casualties. She adds that the definition of war is to kill or be killed. Sumela promises to marry Taichi after the war, and carries on with planning like she said nothing. At night, Taichi visits Rin to relay a message from Lenia. He tells her to get as much rest as she can tomorrow. Rin thanks her friend and asks if he has come to tell her that alone. Taichi hesitates before excusing himself. Run tells him to wait before asking Taichi to spend the night with her. Rin blushes and welcomes an equally blushing Taichi into her large room. Taichi volunteers to sleep on the sofa, but Rin ignores him and mentions she feels as tense as the nights before her tennis tournaments. Rin admits that she can't stop thinking of the people they are going to fight. She adds that she doesn't think it is okay for lives to be lost even in war, no matter what world they find themselves in. Taichi joins Rin in the bed and tells her she doesn't have to be in the battle because it was never her fight in the first place. Taichi apologizes for dragging her into the fantasy world with him, but Rin reminds him that she leaped into the magic circle herself after he pushed her. Rin declares that she will fight alongside him, and Taichi promises to protect her no matter what. Rin rests her head on Taichi's shoulder. Taichi blushes and attempts to hold Rin's hand but stops abruptly. Taichi announces it is time to go to bed before closing the curtains. Over tea, Miura tells Lamia that Run seemed tense and scared. Lamia assures her friend that it doesn't matter before adding that Rin and Taichi will surely hold back and subdue the enemy. Lamia mentions that she is sure Taichi is in Rin's room comforting her. Miura stands up to check on Rin, and Lamia feels a strange presence. Lamia looks out of the window in concern, and Miura asks if everything is fine. While an assassin watches Rin's room from a tree, Maki's opponent declares that he will kill the lost souls and claim all the glory in Marquise's stead. In Rin's room, the assassin stabs a pillow impersonation of Rin and Taichi. Taichi. Lamia, Taichi, and the girls emerge from the closet and catch the assassin in the act. The assassin tries to stab Rin, but Taichi blocks him and begins fighting him. After knocking down the assassin, Taichi smacks his sword from his hand and begins punching him in annoyance. Taichi loses control and punches the assassin several times until Lamia calls him to order. Lamia tries to interrogate the assassin, but the assassin pushes Taichi off him and flees the scene. Unfortunately for the assassin, he slips at the barricade and smashes his head on the hard floor. The following morning, a knight announces the visibility of the enemies, and the soldiers brace themselves for battle. Lamia calls Taichi to action, and Taichi is surprised to see such a small number of men approaching the kingdom. Taichi summons Ariel, and Ariel blows a heavy wind that creates an opening in front of the soldiers. While the royal soldiers jubilate their small victory, the head of magicians points out that the men approaching them are oddly under-equipped for war. The Duke and his army show off their amplifying rings like foolish deers dancing in front of hungry lions, and instruct his men to fight for their rights. The Duke's men open magic circles above them and rain attacks against the royal knights. The king's men panic, and Taichi zooms in on the enemies. Taichi informs his friends that the enemies are using a ring. Lamia recognizes the rings and explains that it is used to boost one's magic abilities. Lamia adds that a great disadvantage of using magic amplifiers is that they wear the bearers out for a short period and kill the bearer. Miura declares they must stop the enemies from killing themselves, but the knights disagree to help the enemies. The stupid general and head of magicians insist that it is better to save them than to watch them perish. Isn't that the point of war? Comment below if you are against their self-righteous act. Lamia cooks up a plan and asks Run to help her. The Duke's army begins dropping dead one after the other. The sick-looking Duke zeroes in on Rin and Lamia with his binoculars and orders his falling men to target them. The weakened enemies begin sending rocks their way, and Ariel creates a wind barrier to protect them. A rock bypasses the barrier, and Miura destroys it before it gets to Rin. The royal magicians create a magic circle and toss it into the air. Rin casts her liberation spell on the floating circle, and rain begins falling on the enemies. A thunder strikes the Duke and his shoulders. One of the Duke's men approaches the Duke to inform him that Rin created muddy water with heavy rain and ran electricity through it to electrocute his men. A splendid tactic to avoid death. The Duke asks the man to wake his men, but the man tells him the paralysis has to wear off itself, and it is impossible to run. The Duke grabs the man by his collar and accuses him of introducing the rings. The man stabs the Duke and announces that his role has come to an end. The Duke falls to the ground, and soldiers jubilate their victory until dawn. Taichi walks up to Rin in the royal flower garden, and Rin shows him the formerly dying but recently blooming flowers. Taichi wakes up to see Rin hovering above him in bed. Dimwit Taichi blushes like an idiot and admires Rin's cherries, but Rin mistakes his words and asks Taichi if he is about to call her beautiful. Taichi holds his mouth in realization and announces he is about to throw up. Rin accuses Taichi of being rude for wanting to throw up after seeing her face. Taichi apologizes before explaining that he didn't say it because of her. Rin agrees and reminds him that he overfed the previous night. Lamia and Miura barge into the room and announce that they have been summoned by the king. The princess presents a series of royal weapons to Taichi and the girls, and the king asks them to choose whatever weapon they wish to keep as a reward for their effort during the sorry excuse of a war. The girls select weapons that fit their aesthetics, and Taichi chooses a slim katana. Perverted Sumela corners Nimrod, Taichi, and the girls, and demands to test out their new weapons. Lamia tries out her ring, and Sumela knocks Taichi down and asks him to fight against her. Taichi escapes Sumela's violent grip by excusing himself to get medicine. The citizens recognize Taichi in the streets and celebrate him for saving their city. In a secluded part of the city, Taichi calls out the person tailing him. Kasein shows his face. Taichi notices Kasim is missing an arm and asks what happened to his hand. Kassim reminds Taichi that he blasted it away in their previous encounter. Kasim declares that he will kill Taichi and ensure Taichi bows before him. Taichi agrees to fight him someplace without liable casualties. Taichi tries to dissolve the battle proposal, but Kasim threatens to poison the royal wells if he dares to call the fight off. While Miura and Rin train with their new weapons, Lamia commends Sumela for being a good general over orchestrating the practice battle to alleviate some of the soldiers' concerns. Sumela informs Lamia that they received a report that the Duke and his forces are nearly 60% done preparing for battle. Lamia asks if a war outbreak can be avoided, but Sumela says that they will receive an order from above to move out by nightfall. In town, Kasim leads Taichi to an open ground and presents a magic item that will reduce Taichi's powers to his level. Ariel warns Taichi not to trust Cassium's strange object, but Taichi ignores her, like your brain cells ignore you in your math tests. Kasim declares that if not for their different power levels, Taichi would have nothing on him. He accuses Taichi of getting everything handed readily to him, and Taichi agrees to prove him wrong by fighting with subdued powers despite Ariel's protests. Kasim sends the magic object to Taichi, and Taichi feels it drag down his powers. Taichi raises his into the air and creates a sharp whirlwind. Kasim dodges the attack by leaping into the air and lands with his knife out on Taichi's katana. Taichi asks Kasim if he thought a pesky knife could do him any harm, before throwing him backward and attacking his feet with wind blades. Taichi dodges the bullets, knocks Kasim's knife from his hood, and kicks him. Granny watches the two men exchange long, distant punches in secret. After punching each other for a while, the two opponents catch their breaths. Kasim declares they will end it all in their next challenge before raising his hand to create an explosive water bomb. Taichi realizes he doesn't have much power left and dares Kasim to bring it on. Bird-brain Taichi racks his empty brain on how to defeat Kasim with the little magic remaining and gets an idea. When Kasim unleashes the massive water bomb, Taichi creates a wind blade that slices through the water magic and tosses Kasim hard against the wall. Kasim admits defeat and tells Taichi to destroy the magic item to get his powers back. Ariel inspects the magic object and points out that something is wrong with it. A black mass with red eyes emerges from the object and floats towards Taichi. Taichi tries to slice the mass with a wind blade, but the mass glues itself together and launches red magic bullets toward Taichi. Kasim watches the mass float dangerously toward Taichi in confusion. Grammy appears from her hidden places and slices through the black mass. The mass recorporates and Kasim instructs Grammy to destroy the magic item while he holds the black mass with his magic. Grammy destroys the magic item, but the black mass remains unmoved. Taichi orders Ariel to compress the air around the black mass while he uses his regained power to slice it. Ariel does as asked, and Taichi slices the black mass and reduces it to nothing. Moments later, Grammy stops Taichi from giving Kasim medicine to increase his embarrassment as a loser. Kasim accuses Grammy of talking too much, but Grammy ignores him and continues speaking Kasim's mind. Taichi admits that he has a strict teacher, and Grammy asks her partner if he feels good after being defeated. Kasim asks Grammy to shut her trap, and the two partners help themselves out of the scene. In town, Taichu asks a merchant why the city is in disarray. The merchant informs him that the rebels have declared war against the capital. In a dark room, the cardinal reports the Black Mass incident with the Grandmaster and assures her that everything is ready for her guidance. Before the war outbreak, the two teenagers promise to protect each other. The traitor who stabbed the Duke informs the Duke that they are about to begin the battle that will decide the future of the nation. The Duke asks his sly right-hand man if they have a chance of winning, and the sly man assures him that he has a strategy to put down Taichi. The Duke wonders how he will be portrayed in history before lifting his sword high into the sky and declaring his mission. The king of the land calls his army to order. He informs them that his brother, the Duke, has refused to compromise and raised arms in rebellion against the nation he was born to protect. The king asks his armies if it is right for them to let the Duke scot-free, and the soldiers scream out and go crazy by hitting their weapons and matching violently in response. Taichi's attention gets called to the rebellious armies behind him, and he promises to use his power to protect the people of the kingdom. The king orders his army to bring victory and a bright future to their kingdom. Sumela commands the guards to draw out their swords and charge towards the rebels. Rin finds herself amid the battle and takes down any rebel that comes her way. Taichi recalls that just a few months ago, he and Rin were ordinary high school students. He admits that he never envisaged he and his friend would find themselves on a proper battlefield. Lamia shows up and the rebels shake in fear before her. After Lamia releases a powerful wind magic against the rebels, Taichi zooms in on the enemy's camp and transports himself in one powerful jump. Taichi lands in the camp to deal with the standby soldiers. In the dark room, the Cardinal informs the Grandmaster of the war outbreak. He assures her that everything is going as planned, and the Grandmaster asks if Taichi will make good use of the power granted to him. The Cardinal again assures the Grandmaster that he will. The Grandmaster mentions that it is time to sit back and watch Taichi show off his true potential. On the battlefield, a redhead with a bloody axe approaches Rin. The redhead introduces herself as Susora, an adventurer of rank A, before informing Rin that she has been tasked with killing her. Rin realizes Susora is as battle-crazed as Grammy, and confidently introduces herself as Rin, an adventurer of rank C. A beautiful knight walks in on Miura and comments on Miura's beauty. The knight insults Miura for foolishly misusing her beauty. Miura asks the narcissistic man what a man like him is for, and the knight responds that he is a man meant to protect his kingdom and marry a beautiful wife. Miura calls the pretty knight a big fool for not fighting for himself. She teaches the narcissist that fighting for oneself is the only way to protect what one holds precious. Miura pulls out her sword at him and declares she will fight him. Lamia traps the rebels from moving with magic and lifts her staff to create a prison. Before unleashing the wind prison, Lamia realizes her magic has been jammed with ice. A sickly mage walks into the scene with a wand and declares that Lamia's life belongs to him. Lamia releases the rebels and her frozen staff before warning the rebels to gather their men and leave if they value their lives. The sickly man mocks Lamia for showing mercy to her foes. At the rebel camp, the Duke complains about Sumella's plan to lure his army into her own and crush them from all sides. The sly man assures the Duke to keep calm and that their cavalry is heading to their weaker left rank as they speak. Taichi walks into the room like he owns the place and asks the Duke to identify himself. The sly man asks Taichi how he escaped the battlefield and the guard so quickly, and Taichi mindlessly mentions that all he did was do a wide jump. Ariel appears beside him, and the Duke asks if the wind spirit is his power. The Duke concludes that their findings of the boy from another world are accurate. Taichi commends the Duke for his accurate findings, and asks the Duke if he is also aware of the heights of his power. The Duke orders his men to excuse him for a private chat with Taichi. After the guards leave, the Duke asks Taichi what he has come for. Taichi informs the Duke that he has come to end the battle peacefully on behalf of the royal army. Taichi tells the Duke that the king has promised leniency for him and his men if they surrender. Despite the sly man's protest, the Duke considers Taichi's offer after Taichi threatens to round him up if he tries any sneaky moves. While Taichi gives a speech about bloodshed and whatnot, a shadow washes down from the sly man onto the floor and spreads into the mouth of the fallen soldiers outside. Lamia blocks the sickly man's attacks and knocks him down with a moon spell. The sickly man coughs out blood, and Lamia brags about forming the spell she used to take him down. The unwell man falls to the ground, and Lamia asks the man for his last words. The man says no, and Lamia annihilates him with a massive fire spell. The pretty knight blames the sickly man for being a weakling who got himself killed after charging him highly for his service. Miura frowns and asks her opponent if he has nothing good to say about his fallen comrade. The knight asks Miura why he should grieve over the death of a mere hired useless adventurer, rich coming from someone slaughtering her enemies. The knight's response ticks Miura the wrong way. She releases all her power into her blade and declares that she will end their fight with her sword. The narcissistic knight mentions that Miura would have been a fine concubine if she surrendered. Miura ignores the idiot knight's words and lands the first attack. The knight blocks her attack and tosses Miura's sword in the air, and suddenly feels her sword slice through his throat. After the knight falls in disbelief, Miura turns around and whispers that she said she would need the fight with her blade. In the rebels' camp, the Duke declines Taichi's offer and asks Taichi why he is allowing himself to be used by the king when he could become the king himself. Taichi explains that being the king is no easy work. The Duke bursts out laughing and declares that sometimes great deeds require great sacrifices, even if the sacrifices are innocent people's blood being spilled. Ariel notices something is wrong somewhere, and the sly man smirks. The sly man and the fallen soldiers outside the camp are engulfed in a black mass with shining red eyes. On the battlefield, Rin blocks Susora's attack, and Susora warns her that blocking attacks will get her nowhere, and Rin sends ice blades in return. Immediately, Susora destroys the ice blades. Rin rains fire bullets at her. The soldiers on the battlefield get infected with the black mass. A possessed soldier tries to attack Susora, but Susora punches it out of her way. A bunch of possessed soldiers surround Rin and Susora, and the two girls are forced to work together. The sly man sneakily explains that he had enchanted the entire battlefield ahead of time, before mocking the Duke for falling easy prey to his manipulations. The sly man declares that he never viewed the Duke as his master, and one true master, the Grandmaster, who watches over the entire world. Taichi recalls his conversation with the dragons and connects the dots. Ariel informs her master that she recognizes the Black Mass from the war between the Galfan Empire and the Scatolith Empire 200 years ago. The sly man informs the Duke and Taichi that the spell is called a Bloody Rhapsody that makes those under its sway become immune to fear and pain. The Duke asks the traitor for his motive, and the sly man declares to be doing it for his Grandmaster. The sly man maniacally orders the possessed men to match into the kingdom and take over, while the soldiers try to take down the possessed soldiers. The sly man sacrifices himself for his cause. Lamia explains that the name Bloody Rhapsody comes from a bloodbath 200 years ago between the Gargan Empire and the Scatolith Empire that claimed over 700,000 lives on both ends. Lamia adds that unless they crush the source of the mind control spell, it cannot be undone, and the possessed soldiers will match into the kingdom and destroy everything in their way. The Grandmaster smirks in her post and says she cannot wait to see how the scenery plays itself. Despite Rin and Susora's attacks, the possessed soldiers reincorporate and strike back like zombies. Susora warns Rin to finish them off, but Rin insists she will only use her powers to save people. Rin blows the possessed soldiers away with wind magic and offers Susora a job to work alongside her after the battle. Susora agrees to work for Rin and asks what their next move is. Rin suggests they link up with Lamia and the others. In the camp, Ariel informs Taichi of her findings on the battlefield. Taichi points out that the possessed soldiers care less about their safety, and the Duke from nowhere questions Taichi for going easy on the soldiers. The Duke spots spots a dead possessed soldier on the floor and has a flashback to the Sly Man's words. Taichi asks the Duke if he is implying that the said woman is lending the Sly Man her power. The Duke points out that there is no other explanation than the fact that the woman is going through all the trouble to put him in a tight spot. At the castle, the king orders his army to eradicate the possessed soldier at all costs. The Duke blames himself for bringing downfall to the nation he wants to protect, and Taichi suggests he ends it all. While the girls are fighting with all their might, Taichi musters up all his power, apologizes to Rin, and lifts his sword. Ariel tries to stop Taichi by freezing time. Ariel apologizes for lying to Taichi about the true extent of her power. She admits that she was scared to unleash her true powers for fear of him not being able to control it. Ariel buds Taichi goodbye and promises to help Taichi save his friends from the bloody rhapsody. Ariel unleashes her true powers and disappears. Rin walks up to Taichi with an injured foot. Taichi hugs Rin and apologizes for not coming to her earlier. Taichi tightens the hug and promises to end the bloodbath no matter what it costs him. Taichi turns around and calls on Sylphid, Ariel's true name, and blasts two bright lights in the center of the Rhapsody magic circle. The dark circle disintegrates and the soldiers return to their normal selves. Ariel appears in front of her master and asks him, and us, to call her Sylphie from now on. Susora identifies Sylphie as the queen of all four spirits, and Taichi asks Sylphie if Ariel has vanished. Sylphie assures her master that her memories as Ariel are embedded in her heart. Taichi turns to Rin and promises to explain later, before announcing the battle isn't finished until the Sly Man is taken care of. The Sly Man transforms into a creepy monster while chanting weird shit about love. Rin and Taichi promise each other to stay together forever, and Susora calls their attention to the dark glowing beast. Taichi assures the girls he will take care of the situation before asking Sylphie to assist him in his jump, and asks the beast who his grandmaster is. The beast responds that the grandmaster oversees everything before coming at Taichi with a punch. Taichi blocks the beast and pushes him backward. The beast tells Taichi that from the day he was born, everything in his life has been orchestrated by the grandmaster, and he was chosen to come through for their world when things go crazy. Taichi asks the man for the identity of his grandmaster, but the beast tells him it is not yet time to learn her name. While Taichi punches the beast in annoyance, the girls watch the fight between the two men like fast-forwarded light speckles in the sky. Taichi punches the beast several times and accuses his grandmaster of being a hypocrite who sacrifices people's lives to test him. Taichi lands a final punch against the creature's stomach and launches him to the ground. The beast lay on the ground and coughed up blood before asking Taichi to deliver the final blow for him to fulfill his purpose to the grandmaster. Taichi hesitates, and the beast mocks him for succumbing to his weakness. Taichi surprises the beast by mentioning that his power comes with a price, and if he wishes to protect the people he loves, he must grow stronger. Taichi declares he will become strong for himself, before apologizing to the beast that he has let go of his human side. Taichi creates a final spell, and the beast closes his eyes in satisfaction and fulfillment while waiting for his death. Taichi strikes the beast and reduces him to smoke. Days later, Taichi wakes up to see Mayura and Rin above him. After sitting up, Lamia thanks Taichi for ending the battle. Taichi asks about Rin's injured leg, and Rin shows him her bandaged leg. The princess barges into the room to check on Taichi, and the girls share an inside joke before bursting out in laughter. Over the few days, the city has gone normal after the king's victory. The adventurers were rewarded, and the Duke was executed for treason. Lamia walks up to Taichi to console sulky Taichi that people with great powers are sometimes forced to make tough decisions. After giving Taichi a prep talk, Lamia announces it is time to go back to Aspire. At the entrance to the capital, the princess promises Rin and Taichi that she will find a way to return them to their world. While the adventurers ride away in a carriage, the princess admits that even though she feels guilty for summoning them into her world, she is grateful she had a chance to meet amazing people like Rin and Taichi. In the carriage, Miura expresses her disbelief over Taichi scoring one of the 4 grand spirits. While the girls joke about Taichi having a magic cheat, Taichi wonders about the identity of the Grandmaster and her mission. Taichi clears his mind and concludes that all he should be concerned about is for him and Rin to survive without hiccups in the world of fantasy.